All right, you guys know what time it is. It's YouTube time. Woo! So what are we going to talk about today? Today I want to talk about, are you carried by your character? Am I carried by my character? Is everybody carried by their character? I want to talk about characters carrying people in Street Fighter V because this is, it's a classic conversation. It's as old as time. And it's something that I get all the time. Listen, you don't think I go a day without having YouTube comments on the Clips channel or on the main channel insulting me? You know, I get constant players that I've never heard of saying that I'm carried by Balrog all day, every day. You know, it's just my life. It's the life I chose. So is that the truth? And does it even matter? That's what I want to talk about, because it can be a little tough out there. It can be tough out there when you're on the ranked grind, and then, you know, you might run into, you know, those players who come at you out of nowhere. They're playing obscure characters. They're playing with a weird, unorthodox play style. They're most likely going to one and done you because they don't want you to figure out their gimmicks, you know, not to name any names or anything, but they might come out of you out of nowhere and they might hit you with some shenanigans. And then, you know, if you get that one game, they're not running it back. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to be immediately pulling the plug right after. So, you know, do these characters carry people? Do they carry? You know, they might. You might be right. Sometimes people are carried by their characters. In fact, people are carried by their characters all the time. What I want to challenge you to think about is, doesn't matter. So I have gone through the same pain. I've been through the same experience. Listen, I have been trying to learn a little bit of Rose here, trying to learn me some new techniques, learn a new character. And Rose, she's a pretty fundamentally sound character. Not too many moves you can throw out without care and neutral. She has to play some footsies, has to do some anti-airs, it has to do some classic zoning. So it's been a new learning experience for me. So it's been a lot of fun. And even I have these issues. So let's take a look here about me match here. I'm sure this Rashid player is going to be much more slow, steady, safe, and calculated. Let's go. Let's have a good match. Never mind. I take it back. So I was playing ranked, just like you guys. And then you run into it. You run into the Rashid with the V-Skill 2. You run into the guy in Diamond who is just flying off the wall and using all the shenanigans. And it's tough. I understand. It's tough. I almost lost a match to that guy. He's diamond ranked. You know, I've been to plenty of tournaments. I compete a lot. I've been in top 8 of premieres. I won an NLBC, maybe carried by Balrog the whole time, but I almost lost here. I'm all quiet. I'm trying real hard right now. I'm dead serious right now. I'm doing everything in my power to not lose this match. Hear the... You know what? I'm getting tired to do the... Fortunately for me, he doesn't block. Yeah, fortunately, he doesn't block. I happened to win that match, but you know how I felt. You know how I felt going into that match. I was stressing. I was trying to learn the matchup on the fly, and I wanted to be like, this dude is carried. This dude is carried by Rashid and that gimmicky V-Skill 2. But you got to put it into perspective. I don't have any graphics artists to put my memes together for me. I don't have the skills, so I had to chalk something up myself here to really demonstrate what I wanted to talk about. So I took my MS Skills paints and I made this terrible meme to really demonstrate what's going on here. You know, the classic matchup, the tortoise versus the hare with his fast gimmicky tactics, running all around, getting ahead in the race. He's already in gold. The slow, steady, footsie tortoise saying this scrub is carried. No fundamentals. You know, I'm playing good old honest Street Fighter. Nice, safe, steady. I'm only here in silver. And this hair just bouncing all over the place. He's already in gold. He's ahead of me in the race. But really, if you zoom out a little bit, who cares? It's not a sprint. It's a very, very, very long marathon. If you are in a low rank, if you're in a high rank, if you're talking about ranked at all, and you're talking about people carried, what I need you to do is I need you to take a step back and realize, who cares? You must understand that in the grand scheme of things, if a player is able to get to a higher rank with a gimmicky playstyle, it does not matter. It does not matter. If you run into one of these guys, a Urian with V-Trigger 2, and you don't understand what's going on, and he does random unblockables, and Rashid doing V-Skill 2 off the wall, and you don't know the matchup yet, Who cares? These players might get hard stuck in diamond forever. And a lot of people, I think, in lower ranks look at that as like an achievement, like they made it to diamond. But you got to understand that diamond is also inconsequential in the long scheme of things. Ultra diamond, master, warlord, it's all inconsequential in the full path of becoming a fighting game player. It's all about the journey. These are just stepping stones along the way. And you cannot get too focused on how characters carry you to certain stepping stones, because they're never going to carry you for your entire fighting game journey of learning to be a holistic and well-rounded fighting game player, to learn how to use the tools that are presented in a game to achieve your victory. The characters, they're just tools. And generally, when I bring up these examples, the reason why these are often the topics and the targets of everyone's bane is because they have very strong gimmicks. They don't require you to necessarily have a very well-rounded game plan to kind of shoot up in the ranks, because if you pick a good gimmick, if you pick Abigail and you know how to do like run punch, 50% of the players you run against are not going to know how to stop Abigail running and punching. You know, he has armor on the run and then he punches you or grabs you. 50% of the player base literally does not know what to do about that. And so they will win 50% of the time, and that win rate will get you to diamond. But who cares? Who cares? Do you want to win by just doing Abigail run punch and getting to diamond? You might be in silver and you're learning about a lot of things at once. You're learning how to anti-air, you're learning how to do combo conversions, you're learning how to do punishes. You're learning many, many skills. Some of the skills you learn will take a lot more time in order to see results, because you're having a generalized understanding of the game. If your only goal was to get to a higher rank, you could pick one of these characters or any one of these characters and learn a gimmick and get somewhere. You'll get a little bit further, but who cares? Because you're going to plateau. You're not going to get any further than that. You can pick Balrog Dash Punch and just spam Dash Punch all day and get to diamond ranked, right? I ran into a guy in ranked today doing that, but you're not going to win a tournament. You're not going to beat anyone who understands how to beat the character. You're just going to be a gimmick, and a lot of people are gimmicks, and that's how it is. So characters can carry you, but they're not going to carry you very far. And at a certain point, it stops being about the character and it starts being about the players who know how to use the characters as tools to achieve their goals. One thing that always reminds me of is the CPT. This is the 2019 season CPT standings. One thing I want to point out here is all these people in the top 32 are using some top tier characters. They're using some strong characters. Are these guys carried to this level? Would you say these guys are carried? Or are they just using tools that they know will be more effective to get the job done? Just remember, there's a bigger picture here. No one cares if you're carried. No one cares if you're winning a few matches here and there with some gimmicks. You will lose to players who are less well-rounded to you. It will happen. But your sights should be on something more. It should be on beating some ass at the pro level. That's what I think. It's not for everybody. If you don't care about that, then who cares? Pick the gimmick. Pick the gimmick too, right? So remember, it's a long race. It's a long way to go. Don't worry about it too much. And if you think characters are carrying someone, your friend, your training partner, your opponents in rank, they're being carried by their character, I suggest you just carry your ass to the lab and learn to beat them. It's really that simple. It's such a calling card, or it's an immediate tell. If you start saying someone is carried, I immediately mentally flag you as not being a competent fighting game player. It just instantly sets my scrub alert off, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to beat every character. You're gonna have to learn the matchups. You can't just sit there and say someone's carried. You need to beat them. And if you can't beat them, you can go ahead and say, oh, they're carried, whatever, and brush it off. Yeah, they're carried, but they might get a W over you. Either you do something about it or you don't. Everyone gets carried. Everyone is bound by the rules of their character, by the tools that the game offers. You know, it's not like when Idom grabs his controller, he's Neo in the Matrix, plugging into the game, seeing the zeros and the one, and modifying the code to make Laura better. He's bound by the rules of Laura. Punk is bound by the rules of Karen. We are bound by the rules of the game we're in. Either you adapt or you don't. It's really that simple. Remember the journey. Who cares about the individual ranks in between? If you think people are carried, then do something about it. Get carried yourself if your goal is to beat them, but don't stress it either, right? There's gimmicks. People will get wins without being well-rounded players. It happens all the time. Sometimes you play fighting games for years and a character like Rashid V Skill 2 comes out and you got to sit there and relearn everything you thought you knew about the game, right? I have to learn how to beat specifically Rashid V Skill 2 with the character I'm playing right now. It's new things to learn. Happens all the time. So don't stress it. Enjoy the journey. And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's about it. All right, let's cut it.